Welcome back to the Restaurant Technology Guys podcast. I thank everyone out there for joining us. As I say each and every time, I know you guys have lots of choices. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. Today is going to be a fun episode. I am joined by Ashley from Apex. Ashley, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience a little bit, and then we can talk a little bit about what Apex does? Because I'm quite frankly excited to get this podcast out. We've been talking about it for a while, and I've been hoping that we can get a solution like yours out to the field. So talk to me a little bit. Who's Ashley? And then we can talk a little bit about what Apex gets a chance to do.
Sure. Thanks. Ashley McNamara. I'm our VP of Marketing here at Apex Order Pickup Solutions. So what we do here is we specialize in kind of the last part of a order pickup process. Think about ordering from one of your favorite restaurants and you're going to pick it up on your way home from work. And so you're ordering from your mobile app, you're going and parking in the parking lot. You then go into the restaurant and nowadays you're either greeted by a shelf or you're greeted by a line that you have to stand in to get the order from an attendant that's behind the counter, or you're waiting for somebody to pay attention to you so then you can go and get your order. So what we do is we would work with the restaurant to put an automated locker to where you would get the code when your order's ready, you scan it, and you're in and out of that restaurant in about.
Yeah, love that. And I know you and I talked pre-show, and we've been talking via email. It's fun to talk about where it's at today and how much you guys are penetrating the market. And so let's dig in a little bit on kind of the shelf technology. So in general, shelf is just a shelf item. So not a whole lot of organization, not a whole lot of security. So talk to me a little bit about the downsides of the shelf for people that are using the shelf as an order pickup solution. I was just at Shake Shack the other day here by the house, and they had a shelf, and you were 100% right.
Sure. So if you think about that entire digital journey, you're ordering from a mobile app, or nowadays you're ordering from a kiosk. You have a digital footprint of everything you're doing up until the point that employee is putting the item on the shelf. So now you don't have any visibility as to how long it's been there, really when it was put on the shelf, how long it's been there, or when it was picked up. So that kind of data visibility goes away with that pickup shelf. You also have the issue of security. Somebody could walk in and accidentally pick up the wrong order. I actually did that the other day. I was standing waiting for an order at a restaurant that I had ordered to go, and they utilized the pickup shelves. And she put two bags on the counter or on the shelf. And the first one was my name. And the second one was, when I got home, realized it was somebody else's name. And so I was like, I talk about this all the time. And then I actually was the person that did this, and I picked up the wrong order. But that guest, when they go into the restaurant now, they're not going to be happy. And now the staff has to stop what they're doing and remake that order because of my mistake. When with our solution, you would put it into a secure compartment to where my code only opens the door for my order. So it gets that security piece under control from that standpoint. And I know a lot of restaurants will put them behind the counter if they experience a lot of that kind of either mistaken pickup or deliberate pickup of orders that are not theirs.
Yeah, and I think going down that same path, actually, that's how a lot of brands still are. Because unless digital orders are a huge part of what it is that you're doing for pickup or delivery
Right.
for that matter, it's continuing to grow. I think there's still people that are there's this queuing system where you have to wait to get your food, and you go up to the counter. You might have to wait in the main line. Some places have gotten to a place where you've got a pickup line only and such.
Right.
But you've got this need to now go stand and deal with staff to go get that from behind the counter. Talk to me a little bit about what you're seeing when you're talking to brands that are still in that mode. And now a word from our sponsors. Growing your business can mean big time logistical questions like how am I going to keep up with all of these local deliveries? Let Uber Direct offer you a helping hand. With Uber Direct, you can take orders directly from your website, app, or by phone. Then drivers who are part of Uber's courier network will deliver them to your customers' doorsteps. Sound too simple to be true? Check out uberdirect.com to learn more.
Yeah. So that actually a lot of times can deter customers from coming into the restaurant. So you think about a really busy line or really busy lobby. If I drive up and walk in and I see a lot of people, I'm going to think the wait's going to be long. It's going to take me a long time to get my order. When in all reality, half of it might be people waiting for their to go order. And so we've seen a lot of brands separate that experience. So think about what the customer wants to do today. Today, I want to get my order and go home and eat with my family. The next time, we're going to all go out together. So it's giving those consumers the option to do what they want to do today. And today, I want a mobile order and pick up my food as quickly as possible and be out the door. And separating those experiences then helps your staff pay attention to those people that want to be paid attention to when they come into your restaurant. Give them that extra customer service, that experience when they go there, because the experience is still a thing in
Yeah.
hospitality, and people still want to go out and have great experiences. And so you can do that and focus the people that you have there in your time on those people, while you can still give the other people who do want to grab their order and go also a great experience, because that's what they want to do today.
Yeah, no, and I talk about that often is different people experience different brands in different either phases of life. We're talking pre-show about having kids, and sometimes when you're on your way home from soccer practice or baseball practice or cheer or dance, like you just want to get food and want to get the kids in the bath and get them to bed. And then there's other times you want to go out and enjoy a meal. And so depending upon to me, technology has to be an enabler to enhance that guest experience, not deter that guest experience. And if it's deterring the guest experience, then it's a bad thing. But if it's enhancing that guest experience, it's critical. And so you talked a little bit about kind of digital ordering and the ability to know when the food got put into the locker and when the food got pulled. Talk to me a little bit about why that's such a valuable piece that you guys are tracking that. Because to your point, on the counter, or even if it's behind the counter, nobody knows when sometimes they know if they've got kitchen automation when the food got done getting prepared. They may or may
Right.
not know when it got done getting boxed and put into those things. And so talk to me why it's so critical in all of that guest journey, because I think it's a big deal for consumers, quite frankly.
It absolutely is. As another experience that I had, I went into a place that they had the shelf, and it was after work, so maybe 6 o'clock or so, and I went to go pick up my to go order. And I looked at the shelf, and there was an order on there, and it said ready by 4:05.
And it was
So
six
it had been
o'clock.
sitting there for 2 hours. So in that experience alone, that food's been sitting there for a really long time, but the team isn't trained or doesn't go in there to retrieve those orders. They still think somebody's going to come and pick them up. So what is really critical and what our solution does is it knows when you put that order inside that compartment, it'll then tell you how long it's been sitting there. So from a food quality and food safety perspective, each brand that we work with can set that time of how long they want it to be inside the locker before they're alerted that says, hey, it's been in here for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 2 hours, whatever that time threshold is that works with their customers. So a lot of times in restaurants, in QSR, we see shorter times, 10, 12 minutes or so, of how long they want something to sit there. And then the brand can decide, what do they want to do with it?
Yep.
Do they want to call the customer? Do they want to keep it behind the counter and then ask the customer if they want it remade? Do they remake it automatically and re-put it in the locker? We also have some customers, especially on the college campus side, that if the food can stay out a little bit longer, they will leave it in the locker longer, because they know students are in class. They know particular students are in class, or they have special dietary restrictions that they can only get from one of the concepts that closes early, and so they order it. They can pick it up later. Like, they've learned their customer base, so then they can make the decisions in that way to be able to do that kind of stuff. So it really depends on, and that's something too. We've tweaked a lot of it throughout the process with customers. We start at 20 minutes and realize, oh, we can now bring it down to 10. People are learning how to use the system. They're not leaving it in there longer. We don't want it to go for 20 minutes now. So a lot of that stuff can be adjusted, but it's really around quality. How
Uh-huh.
long do you really want the food to sit in there from your brand's perspective? Because again, it's all in still wanting that great brand experience when they get home and open the package. So it's however long you want it to be sitting there. And then for that food safety, in the event that there's something in there that shouldn't be sitting for that long.
And I think that that leads to the next question, which is this whole idea of, is the solution getting to a place where it's going to, I don't want to say smart enough to know that this is a salad and it can probably sit for 20 minutes. And this is a burger that you might not want it to sit for 20 minutes. And so talk me through even, are we to that point quite yet? Or is it still a little ways away from getting there where it knows what's even on the ticket? Because I could see them allowing a cold sandwich, a turkey sandwich with no condiments on it, turkey sandwich with lettuce and nothing else. That probably can sit a little bit longer than a burger could.
I think it's less about what's in the compartment and more so in how you optimize the process to get somebody to pick it up quickly. And I think some of this is utilizing other technologies within the restaurant, integrating those within the locker solution. So you can use geofencing, for example, to know, okay, I'm getting really close to the restaurant. I'm going to make sure I finish that package and put it in the locker for me to pick up. So it's some of that kind of stuff. So to us, it doesn't, you could put a milkshake, a burger, fries, a chocolate cake, whatever you want to in that compartment, because our whole goal is to keep it in there the least amount of time as possible,
Yep.
maximizing the technology investment you've already made and making it super seamless for somebody to come in, grab their order and leave.
Yeah, so talk to me about so I know that some of your guys' solutions or solutions out there have dealt with cooling and heating. Are you guys at a place where we've got it staying warm in this locker, or is it just kind of thing they're static? Again, my family will at times go to Little Caesars, and they've got the locker similar locker system, and it's always interesting when my wife says, "Hey, can you go pick a pizza?" Because again, kids were at sports and we need something on the way home. Talk me through kind of where that journey is at for you guys.
Sure. So we partnered with Little Caesars on the pizza portal there, and their whole notion was a hot and ready customized pizza for you, which was a great strategy for them. And I think one of the things we learned from that is that the heating is not necessary in most environments other than pizza. Pizza is generally put in a hot holding cabinet, but when we look at the breadth of most other restaurants' menus, it's so many different things. It is a burger, fries, and a milkshake. So being able to think about that and making it efficient for the restaurant and efficient for the customer pickup, we optimize ambient lockers to be able to put it all in one place and optimizing that technology to get people there. Most of the time, things don't sit in our lockers for more than 4 to 6 minutes on average across all of our solutions. So they're probably sitting that long behind the counter in the current state that restaurants are doing things now. So in
Yeah, or
thinking
on the
about
shelf
that,
like we talked about earlier, right?
that's exactly right. So, in thinking about it in that aspect, if you really wanted to try to use heated or cooled compartments, you're now looking at maybe doubling the size, like the capacity that you need. You'd have to guess how many you would need on a given day. And maybe today, like in Cincinnati, it's 95 degrees outside. So I bet there's a lot of ice cream being sold. So maybe more milkshakes and you have a bunch of heated compartments with no cooled compartments. How are you going to make that work operationally? So we've just found it's a much cleaner and a much more efficient process to use that ambient temperature locker, put everything in there and just utilize the process that's there in its most optimal way to get people in and out quickly.
Love that that's discovery because a lot of the brands when they start down this path, at least with us, they go, "I need heated and cooled." And I always go,
Right.
"Well, you really? What are you
Do you
doing
really?
now? You're not heating and cooling it when you're setting it on the shelf. You're not heating it and cooling it when you're keeping it behind the counter. So why do you feel the need to do this?" And so I think that's great that you guys statistically have found out that other than pizza,
Yeah.
that's something that is less necessary.
I think there's some kind of connotation to a locker being something that holds something.
Mhm.
In our solution, while it does hold it, the whole point of it is to expedite the handoff of it. We call it an asynchronous handoff to where I don't have to be there to hand you the order, but we're getting this in a really efficient way. And so I think that's where some of that kind of initial thought process comes in is, oh, it's a locker. I got to put stuff in there to store it. And that's not quite what it does.
Yeah, I could, and I'm old enough to remember when we still had lockers in school and in the quads, and it's like that probably is not where I would want to store my food nowadays. So from
Right.
that perspective, but I do think it continues to be one of those things that is going to help everybody struggling with getting labor, having enough people to serve the guests that are there, as well as get the guests that don't really want to interact with the staff member to do that. And so Ashley, you talked a little bit about kind of the guest process. Walk me through it again as I walk into the restaurant. So you stop by, and if Apex was in this brand where you picked up somebody else's food,
Yeah.
we'll pick on you here for a second. What would the experience have looked like for you picking up your family's meal for that evening?
Sure. So in that very specific instance, I would have handed my phone to my daughter and she would have taken the QR code that was passed to me through the brand app and would have scanned it at the scanner at the locker. The door would have opened, it changes colors. I'd grab my food and I'd be out the door.
Okay.
So really 10 seconds in and out from that standpoint versus standing and waiting at the counter or waiting for it on the shelf. Because I think that's the other as a consumer, it's funny, we sell a solution that to restaurants, but I'm also a consumer at a lot of these restaurants. And so I see a lot of different things and the ability to give an active and a good notification of when the order's actually ready is another huge benefit to our solution because it's there. It's not giving me a time estimate. It's not giving me anything like it'll be ready in approximately 20 minutes and you show up and it's already on the shelf. We're like, well, how long has it actually been sitting there? I don't the food might have already went past that expiration time and we just don't know. But now with this type of solution, when it was put in there, because you're going to get a notification right when it was put in that locker that says your order's ready, come get it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge benefit to a consumer as well.
I think it's ironic because brands like Domino's have the Domino's pizza tracker. And
Yeah.
all brands are trying to get to that for their digital ordering. They're
Yep.
trying to figure out, okay, we've received your order. Okay, it's starting to get cooked. Okay, it's
Yep.
got finished getting cooked. Because we as consumers, we can see it. I know when the Amazon driver is 8 stops away. Why do I need to know that they're 8 stops away versus 6 stops away? I
No.
really don't, but it gives me this false modicum of control that I have control over what's going on. And so Amazon and Domino's have given that to people, but unfortunately, most restaurant brands are catching up
Yeah.
because digital and digital and really takeout was not as big of a piece of their play until COVID, really. In the last couple of years, it's really accelerated that.
Yeah, some do a really good job. I can remember ordering from Buffalo Wild Wings over COVID time, and they have the little buffalo that goes across the screen. And I knew when my order was ready to be able to then go inside the restaurant and get that and leave. So some brands do have that experience. But again, in but a normal time, it would be going inside and waiting for somebody to hand it to me or things like that. Like depending on what the brand then does on the inside of the restaurant makes a huge difference. I see there's been a lot of really good investment and enhancements in a lot of that front end technology, the mobile apps, the loyalty, all that kind of stuff since COVID. I think this is just like the last piece of that experience of being able to give that full digital experience of going in and picking up from the locker.
Just a question that comes to mind, Ashley, when you're talking through this is what happens if your order was too big for a single locker? Talk me
Sure.
through you're ordering for a soccer team and now you've got 6 bags that need to get picked up. Talk me through what that looks like and how do you and how does the restaurant really manage those larger orders? Do they still use the lockers? Do they keep them behind the counter and do something different?
Yeah, it really honestly a lot of that stuff we work through with brands on their own specific use cases on that. Like we do have some brands that do have ice cream. So they'll put a little sign in there that says please come to the front to get your ice cream cone. We
Mhm.
can't really put an ice cream cone in safely in the locking compartment. When it comes to large orders, you can use multiple compartments to load that order and then they'll all open up at the same time. So it's really up to the team as they're loading it. Okay, I need another one. And they just hit a button and it opens. They load another one, hit a button, it'll load another one, whatever they need for that particular order. We can do that in those instances and then it'll open all of them for them.
Just because while it might not be an Apex solution, I'd love to understand a little bit about the geofencing technology that you alluded to. I was talking with a brand just the other day, very popular bakery brand out of Southern California, extremely popular, and they'll have people that they say the order's supposed to be picked up at 4 o'clock and they show up at 6, or the order's supposed to be ready at 6 and people show up at 4 o'clock. So
Yeah.
on both sides of that spectrum. And so they
Mhm.
don't use geofencing. They make you come to the counter and the food can get prepared pretty quickly. And so
Yeah.
they had to change their business operation because guests are guests and they're going to do whatever guests want to do. Even if I tell
Right.
them it's not going to be ready, they may get stuck there and now they're queuing up and causing pain and suffering. So I'd love to just kind of help educate our listeners. What have you seen on the geofencing and how does that kind of trigger? And then you can see the rest of the Domino's pizza tracker if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. So as a consumer, if I order from a mobile app that's utilizing geofencing, a lot of times you'll see it shift to where you can tell when you cross that geofence, and that's generally when they start making the order for you. So again, it's utilizing a lot of the technology if they know how long it takes to make certain things within the restaurant, wherever the ticket is in the process, that they could pull that and make sure that it's ready then for the guest or when they arrive at the restaurant. So it's helping eliminate that wait time either in the drive-through or in the lobby for you to be able to get that order. So it's another tool in the toolbox to be able to utilize, especially in high volume restaurants, different things like that. Your team can prepare that I'm coming, have my order ready kind of thing. So then
Um,
that helps also then with our locker because then they can load it in there when they're at this particular part of the geofence. And it's then sitting in there. It's sitting in there the least amount of time. So the team member can put it in there, go out back to the next thing that they were doing. And me as a guest can come in and grab that really quickly.
I'm going to shift gears a little bit here, Ashley. Order off premises. A lot more people are using third party delivery or online orders. You've got the app, you've got the traditional consumer that comes in on their way home from work and they do that. We've talked through that journey. Have you guys gotten to a place where you guys are helping with those other people that are coming in to pick up food? Because nothing is more annoying than standing there watching 12 DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats drivers clogging
Sure.
up the line and I can't order food with my family because they're trying to get their food.
Yeah. Yeah, so we do have quite a few brands that are utilizing our lockers solely for delivery drivers. So they're still giving their first party guests that hospitality touch while they're having the third party drivers going to the locker. And so that does a couple of things for them. One, again, it gives that security of this is the order that they need to pick up and it's the complete order. Again, like there's human error and all these types of things that if the drivers are picking up from a shelf, they may grab one bag and not two. They may grab two bags like I did. There's a lot of that kind of thing that can be eliminated by that experience. And again, it's also giving the team a place to put the order that then can be picked up quickly and leave. I've experienced times in restaurants where they'll call out an order for a delivery service and that person's not there yet. And then the team members touching that order, putting it down and going to the next one. And then they're going to have to come back and touch it again, which just adds to the cost of that order. And so our solution allows them to put the order away and know that then it's going to be picked up by the right person there.
Well, and it's funny that you say that. I was on a trip with my son a couple of weeks ago, and we were sitting having breakfast at a place, and it was a little small cafe, and so we were the only ones in there. And a delivery driver, I don't know what brand, it doesn't even matter, came in
Yeah.
and they show their phone to the staff member, don't talk, don't engage, don't. And it was like,
Mhm.
I could have been
Yeah.
standing there in the middle of ordering, and this person still. And so you watch those experiences versus, it's terrible to say, but I think that they're paid by the number of deliveries, so they don't want to
Right.
wait any longer than they have to, and they
Well,
get penalized when the food is not ready and not getting delivered to the guests on time, because DoorDash or whoever it is that sent them there needs to make sure that they ensure that quality.
yeah, the locker pickup from a driver standpoint, to your point, is hugely beneficial because they can come in, they grab the order, and they can leave. And so it makes it really efficient for them to not have to grab somebody's attention or do any of that kind of stuff. They can literally grab the order and leave. I was observing one restaurant, and there was one particular driver that came in 3 times in 1 hour because they were able to go deliver, come back, and keep moving because it was that efficient, and just said that they love picking up from the lockers because of that.
Yeah. So for those that aren't familiar with what it is that you guys do, how much space do these things take up? Where do people typically put them? Are they in place of the shelf? Are they
Mhm.
customer facing and they're kind of the front of the lobby, and so they're walking back and forth? Talk me through. You talked about even some college campus stuff. Most people probably that listen to the show, because they're on the early adopter side, have seen the lockers that they had in San Francisco where they'd make the food and then stick it in the locker in the back. Do those QR? Talk me through what
Right.
does it look like? Paint me a picture for
Right.
those people that may not be familiar with it or haven't experienced it, whether it be at Little Caesars or at any other place.
Sure. So there's a variety of different shapes and forms that this can make depending on the store layout and the opportunity to put it in either with construction, without construction, however it's building. The most efficient way is to put it to where the kitchen can load efficiently either from the kitchen or near the kitchen on back side of the locker, and then the guest picks up at the front. You'll see that at like maybe the end of a counter of POS systems or something like that, or we have some that can actually go right on the countertop. Like, we've got some of those in a couple of cinemas and things that they've got big counter spaces, and so they put it on top of the counter but I that order handoff. We've seen clients that'll utilize them in more of a ghost kitchen model in that same way. So the front face of the operation is only the locker pickup, and then you only order via kiosk or mobile app. And it's hugely efficient then for those operations. We've got some of those at airports or college campuses, to where the people are constantly ordering on their mobile phone, and those experiences to where then they're picking it up efficiently. They're getting those notifications that the order's ready and they can go up and grab those. Um, in other places where maybe space is a little bit more challenging, we do have a model that can load from the front. So it sits up against a wall. If you have a blank wall with roughly 41 inches wide and 18 inches deep, you'll be good to go.
Roughly,
So
roughly 41 inches.
roughly 41 inches and 18 inches
I'm
deep. Yes.
teasing.
Because any number, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's something that, again, can be very easily added into any sort of restaurant that has that. We see that a lot of times that they'll try to, maybe they want to put those lockers nearer to the front door. So their goal is to really focus on that guest experience in the restaurant. So they want those to go customers in and out as quickly as possible. Maybe the team walked a little bit more to do that, but that, you again, like, we'll walk through all that kind of stuff with the brand to see what's the best option for them. This past year, we also introduced an exterior facing locker. So it actually was one of the kitchen innovation awardees at the National Restaurant Association this year. But this actually built to the exterior wall of the restaurant. So think about it. It on the inside, it's in your kitchen, and the outside is where the customer or the driver picks up. So they don't even have to enter the restaurant.
Because we've
We've
gotten
got
so lazy that we can't park and walk the 15 feet into the restaurant. We got to do
Uh-huh.
drive-through without a drive-through, huh?
Yeah, well, think about a lot of people really liked curbside. They
Yeah.
liked that experience. Again, when I go to places with my kids, like, I have to bring the kids out of the car. This is 10 seconds in and out of the car to be able to go scan the order, come back to the car. So there's some efficiency there. It's also back to that kind of lobby crowding situation that there's no need for them to come inside if they can grab that order and go. One of the first installs of that was with Whataburger in their digital kitchen. So their whole concept was digital first in this particular restaurant. And so they used the exterior lockers for that type of pickup there.
And again, I was teasing about how lazy we've
Oh, yeah.
gotten, but the truth is we're there because we're all time stretched, and any
Yeah.
amount of time that we can get back to be able
Yep.
to spend it with our friends and family is huge.
The other thing to think about with that particular solution, and even some of the interior ones in a vestibule, is a lot of restaurant brands, especially those with drive-throughs, want to stay open late night for that delivery option. But then the drivers are getting in the delivery line, and that's blocking other first-party guests to come into the delivery line and place an order. So utilizing our solution for late night to where the drivers come to the locker outside, that exterior locker outside, frees up the drive-through to where you can get you're driving past, you're like, oh, that line's too long. I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to go to the next place.
Yeah.
It making sure that it's a realistic visual of what's actually happening in the restaurant.
Yeah, I love that, I guess, painting that picture, because I think you're right. There's times that you walk in and you go, "I can't wait, and I gotta get somewhere," and it may not be that problem. One of our
Right.
clients is the Cheesecake Factory. It's the same way. When you walk in and there's a huge line, and it could be those people waiting for pickup, and the truth
They're
is
waiting for
there's no way
cheesesteak.
to
Yep.
get a dining room table, but there's so many
Yep.
people in the lobby, you go, "Ah, I'm not even gonna bother. I'm gonna keep walking through the mall and go somewhere else."
That's exactly right. Yeah. It's painting a false picture when it's not reality what that is.
Yeah. The last line of questioning, just because 'cause we're talking tech, is how does this stuff integrate with the current order management delivery platforms, the KDS solutions, the point of sale, so that they can get that timing and get that data out? Because I do think you're gonna find a correlation between food quality and timeliness. Bad reviews, probably because we did a crappy job of getting the food to the guests in the time frame that we needed to. So talk me through a little bit of that.
Yeah, so what we do is we look for so I guess from an integration standpoint, we just need to know there's an order that needs to go into the locker. So that could be coming from numerous different places within a restaurant's technology stack or any food service operations technology stack, if you will. On the C&U side, we use a lot of Grubhub Campus, it's online systems that the students are already using on campus for different things that then integrate. So then they let us know when there's an order that comes into the locker. We then send back the codes to access the locker, and then they can distribute them as they need to the client. A lot of times they can print them on a receipt ticket to scan at the back locker for that efficiency. But it's really that. And similar then on the restaurant side, we can integrate with some like an OLA, an order aggregator system. They just need to tell us which ones need to go into the locker or that there's an order for that. We can integrate to that geofencing. Again, all we need any of the systems to tell us is there's an order that needs to go in the locker at this location at this time, that kind of thing. Our system doesn't like assign lockers or anything like that. Like it's an on-demand type of thing. So once the order's ready, you put it in. And they're just staged there waiting for the restaurant to put them in. Because again, some restaurants don't use the like what's the word I'm looking for? The throttling of the orders. They don't use the order throttling to where I could place an order today to pick up at a bakery tomorrow, but the ticket may still print based on their activities and how they do those things. So there's some of that kind of stuff that can come in handy from our locker solution. But then again, it's simply scanning at the back or picking from a list on the back of the locker, depending again on how that integration works, that we could put a list of all those orders on the back and they just
Anybody that's ever run a restaurant knows the craziness that happens during a meal period in a rush. One of our partners, Restaurant Technologies Total Oil Management Solution, is an end-to-end oil management system that delivers, filters, monitors, and recycles your cooking oil, taking one of the jobs that none of your team wants to do and takes it off your hands, allowing your team members to focus on their guest. Control the kitchen chaos with Restaurant Technologies and make your kitchen safer while maximizing your staff's time. The solution can be provided at no upfront cost. If you want to learn more, please check out rti-inc.com or call 888-796-4997.
You just pick it and then know that's going to this. That's great.
yep.
That's
And
great.
then
And I think you talked about the fact that you guys are generating the QR to send back to the guest, however that may be, a text message on the app, in an email, whatever it
yeah,
is that the brand defines as their means to get that
yeah,
in.
we want the brand to own the customer essentially. Like we can send the text messages, but it's really the best experience is them still living in the brand app or on the brand's website to be able to do all that kind of stuff and they can communicate that back to the customer.
I love that. Is there anything we missed before I give everybody kind of an idea of how they get in touch with you guys? Is there anything that I missed in our outline that we were talking about? Because I think we've gone through a lot of the really cool things, and like I said at the onset, I think it's really exciting to hear how you guys have innovated what might seem like just a big piece of metal into really enhancing the guest experience and creating something that is memorable and different to get them where they want to get to at the time that they need to get it.
Well, and I think that's it. That's the approach that we take for this. We're not looking at it as, oh, here's a locker, have a nice day. We want to understand how this will fit into your specific operation, how you want your kitchen to flow, how you want to interact with your guests, and how you want to interact with your drivers and all that kind of stuff. And we build out that solution for you or with you to be able to optimize that entire operation for you. And so it's a lot more, it's like the iceberg. There's a lot more underneath there than what is the locker itself. But there's a lot of different software workflows, experiences that we've had that go along with that.
I think even to that point, you talked a lot about how to understand what the brand's desires are and then
Yeah.
helping use technology. We say it on almost every show, tech for tech's sake is worthless, but tech that enhances the guest experience is critical to seeing where those things go. And so I've now just sat and listened to 30 minutes of the show and I want this. How do I get in touch? How do I learn more? Who do I talk to? How do I figure out where it's going to fit into my brand? Because I need something like this because I got a huge queue and it's causing my guests pain and I'm having to remake food because somebody took the wrong food, those kind of things.
Sure. You can learn more at apexorderpickup.com, or you can send us an email at info@apexorderpickup.com, and it comes to myself and some of our team members to be able to reach out to you and start having that discussion.
I love that. Ashley, thank you very much for hanging out. I'm excited to see you guys continue to grow, to continue to see that see those things that are going on within the restaurants, because it is a huge piece of a challenge for a lot of people, especially as both digital ordering and as pickup becomes a larger part of their revenue stream. So thank you for being on the show. To our listeners, guys, like I said at the onset, you guys have got lots of choices. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. If you guys haven't already subscribed, please do so on whether it's your favorite podcast player or on YouTube, and make it a great day.